Welcome in, all you football addicts out there. Boy, do we have a show for y'all today.
Yeah.
Breaking news to start it off. I don't believe Mark's going to be on today, but just Chris and I for a lot shorter show than Friday. Um,
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, with what we got to talk about, we could easily stretch it out, but we'll try to keep it a little shorter.
yeah. So, like I said, today we're going to do NFL news, combine recap, wrap that up, and then got the Commanders and Vikings mock draft. Got my Brett Favre Vikings jersey on. So, but yeah, starting off, we're gonna skip the first nugget of NCAA news to talk about the breaking news in the NFL. Just happened about 45 minutes ago. Calvin Ridley, Falcons wide receiver, suspended for the entire 2022 NFL season for betting on games last year in November. During a 5-day stretch, he spent $1,500 on 3, 5, and 8 team parlays, including the Falcons in those plays. NFL has said that they found no evidence that tampering in any of the games for the Falcons, no insider information, and no, throwing the game or shaving points and whatnot. This happened when he was on the non-football illness list, because he was away for mental health reasons. At least that's what he said.
Yeah, there's a whole lot to unpack here. I mean, starting with the whole reason he was out to begin with, he said he didn't want to focus on, or he couldn't focus on football right now because he had mental health issues that he was battling with. Meanwhile, he's still there betting on the games and stuff. And obviously, that's an illegal thing to do, especially when he wasn't playing, but he's an active NFL player technically.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't read too much into the story, but is the punishment or whatever because he bet on the Falcons, or is it just because he bet in general?
Betting in general.
So it would have been this severe no matter what he bet on?
Yeah. Yeah, betting on games is the most. Betting on your own league's games is the worst possible thing that you can do. That's how the NFL and most other sports leagues, that's how they view gambling on their own league's games.
I mean, I get that. But at the same time, I feel like there should be a different punishment for people. Like if he didn't bet on the Falcons, which I mean, obviously he did, but if he didn't bet on the Falcons, I don't think it should be a year suspension. I think it should have been a lighter fine. But like I said, he did bet on the Falcons, so I don't really have much to say about the year suspension.
Yeah, I agree. I have always gone back and forth with this, because of how mainstream gambling has become in our culture. But I agree. I think that, you're not betting on your team's game. The issue with there's still a possibility that like you could, bet on some other game, because you know how interconnected NFL players are today. Everyone, a lot of people know other people on all different kinds of teams, and so yeah, there's always that possibility, that especially being Calvin Ridley going to Alabama, how many players from Alabama are in the league. He probably has a million different teammates on maybe every single team in the NFL. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure every team tries to get as many Alabama players as they can.
Yeah, I think it's probably the issue of, even if you don't bet on your teams, it's still severe because there could still be the possibility that, get some insider info from one of your
Yeah.
friends or whatever on a different team.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the argument as to why like players can't bet in their own league or whatnot, because obviously it questions the integrity of the game and puts into question like if the players throw the games and stuff. But I mean, we already kind of saw that with the whole Brian Flores case, was that the Brian Flores case that brought up the owner paying him to lose?
Yeah.
So I mean, we already see it in other aspects of the game happening anyway. So I mean, I don't know. Obviously, just in general, throwing a game is not right to do, but I don't know. I just think the sports betting is a little too harsh of a punishment. I'm not even going to get into the Pete Rose argument for baseball because that's a whole other rant that I will go 20 minutes on. But he should be in the Hall of Fame. That's all I'm saying about that. But yeah, let's move a little past the suspension though, and like, how much does this actually affect the landscape of the league now in terms of like the wide receiver market? Because Calvin Ridley was at the top of the list of trade targets for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So now with him off the board, I don't know.
So I mean, yeah, Schefter had said, multiple teams had reached out to the Falcons in the last couple of weeks just to see about trading for Calvin Ridley. And I mean, luckily the Falcons were nice enough to other teams that in good faith they didn't allow or didn't entertain those trades, because they said that they knew the NFL was investigating since February 9th, so almost a month. But yeah, so he like I said, he placed parlay bets on his phone. Just going through some of the other screenshots I had from some of the Twitter stuff. I mean, the landscape of wide receivers, I don't think it alters too much. It's only one guy, and especially because we still don't know what Davante Adams' status is. We'll get to talking about franchise tags in a little bit. Amari Cooper is going to be available now, which I don't know if many people expected that. Maybe they did. I don't know. I didn't, but
yeah, but I don't think that he'll end up getting traded though. I think that ultimately he will be released. But that was just my point though. Like, Adams is going to be a free agent if he's not re-signed by the Packers. He's not going to be traded. I was just talking about trade targets in general for wide receiver. I don't really know of any others that were on the trade block. Oh, well, you said Beasley was seeking out one too. So I don't know. Maybe he becomes the number one trade target at wide receiver.
Yeah, I didn't foresee the trade market for wide receivers being very lucrative this year, outside of Davante Adams, especially with the depth of the wide receivers in the draft once again.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very good wide receiver draft again. So even if you can't get your guy in free agency, you can find someone that fits your need in the draft in probably every round. So, but yeah, some other things I had on this. So Calvin Ridley now joins Alex Karras and Paul Hornung in 1963, Art Schlichter in 1983, and Josh Saul in 2019, being suspended for gambling in the NFL. That's just about that. An interesting note from Mike Garafolo. He put out a video of him talking on NFL Now on NFL Network. how Calvin Ridley was caught was the NFL, when they got together with the sports books and put together their agreements, they made it clear that they'd be able to work with their gambling partners in order to gather information and then, seek out potential violations from NFL players, which is exactly how they found out Calvin Ridley was betting on the NFL games. Whatever app he was using, essentially told the NFL. That's how they caught him. So, but yeah, the Falcons are in a world of hurt now. They have almost no top level talent at wide receiver. Obviously the number one pass catcher is going to be Kyle Pitts, just going into his second season.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they have Olamide Zaccheaus, guys signed anyways, or guys under contract still for this season that aren't free agents. Olamide Zaccheaus, Frank Darby, Christian Blake, Chad Hansen, Austin Trammell, and Braden Lenius.
Yeah, that's a very thin wide receiver room there.
And the thing is, they don't have any money to sign anyone. They have to draft.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess he's technically listed as a running back, but maybe Patterson will come back on a cheap deal because he was a very big piece for them last year.
Yeah.
And they really need him now.
I think it'd be hard with the year he had.
That's true.
To afford to bring him back. Just checking on the exact cap space for the Falcons currently. $7 million over the cap right now. So not a terrible situation. But you have Matt Ryan counting, I believe, $47 million against the cap this year.
Yeah, so without him, they'd be 40 over. 40 under, I should say.
Yeah, 48 and change million. But they can't cut him. That's the issue. He would cost them $40 million in cap space if he was cut pre-June 1. It actually would equate to 32-ish million because they do save $8 million in cap space by cutting him pre-June 1. They cut him post-June 1. That's a little different. That would be closer to about $1.2 million lost in cap space. They trade him, it's the same. So, yeah. Their best bet on at least by over the caps thing here is to extend him. That would save them $18 million. Or if they, good Lord, if they restructure him again, it gets them $11 million this year anyways. But who knows down the road how much money they would have to pay for him probably not even being on the roster.
Yeah, they really screwed themselves over with the whole deal.
Yeah. At least they're not the Saints, who are $44 million over the cap right now.
Yeah, I don't know what the Saints are going to do.
Restructure.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all you can do at this point if you're Mickey Loomis. Because they still have Drew Brees on the cap this year. $11.5 million for Drew Brees this season. So, yeah. that doesn't help. But anyways, we'll pivot back to the one piece of NCAA news we have. Jaden Daniels has found a home. Former Arizona State quarterback. He is headed to Baton Rouge to play for the LSU Tigers, assuming he's going to get the starting job. Miles Brennan and I forget the other guy name that they have down there. Going to be competing. I forgot that Max Johnson had transferred out because I was thinking, I was like, maybe I don't know if Jaden would actually win the job. He's probably more talented than Max Johnson is, but I don't know. I liked how Max played this past season, even in a down year for LSU. But yeah, it seems like Brian Kelly has his quarterback for at least 2022. Okay, now back to NFL news. The 49ers. We talked about a couple weeks ago, Troy Aikman moving into the Monday Night Football broadcast booth from Fox Sports. He is replacing, it's quarterback for quarterback. It's an even swap. He is replacing Brian Griese, who is now going to San Francisco to be the 49ers head coach, quarterback's coach under Kyle Shanahan in the Bay there. So
it's kind of funny because you don't really see, like, I feel like okay, never mind. I totally forgot about John Gruden. I was going to say, you don't really see like the broadcasters and media people go into like coaching roles. Normally you'd see them go to like the front office, but then, I remembered that John Gruden did it. But I feel like he's an outlier though, because he was a big name head coach before he went into the booth anyway.
Yeah. Griese and Shanahan have known each other for quite a while. Griese was playing for the Bucs when Shanahan got his first job under John Gruden in Tampa. So that's where their connection started, and obviously kept in touch over the years.
Yeah.
The Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, he is still torn on what he wants to do for 2022, where he wants to play, whether that be in Green Bay or somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't know, but I read an article earlier that so far there's been one team that has formally put in a trade proposal or whatever, and that's the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I read, it was this year's first and second round pick and next year's first.
Still too much.
Well, it was funny because somebody was saying, like, can you really get Aaron Rodgers for cheaper than the Colts got Carson Wentz for?
No, but I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks. I would gladly, because the Broncos have I think anyways, and I think a lot of other people do, have a treasure trove of wide receivers right now. Because they have Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. Those 3, you can give Jerry Jeudy and supplement that as a first round pick, I believe. He was a pick, first round pick 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and that would also help if, Devontae were to leave too. But I still stick to my guns. If I'm a team like the Broncos, I am trading for Rodgers and Adams in a package deal. And then I can give you 3 first-round picks, a second rounder next season, and, I'll even give you Cortland Sutton back,
Yeah.
And maybe we have to put in Bradley Chubb too. That's fine. But just re-sign Vaughn and we'll be good. Yeah, but the Packers did have a deal in place for Rodgers, a 3 to 4 year deal, make him the highest paid player in the league, and apparently change the landscape of quarterback contracts, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, because he's going to be the highest paid quarterback at 38 years old or something like that.
Yep, still doesn't make sense to me.
The Packers are just desperate at this point to keep Rodgers because they know that trading him would be a mistake.
Yeah, it's fine. They can continue to be the best regular season team in the NFL. I'm perfectly fine with that. Before we get into franchise tags, just got this in from Mike Garafolo on Twitter. We love live stuff here. So the NFL just set the salary cap, $208.2 million. I'm trying to see. I'm waiting on people to put out how much of an increase it is. If I don't remember if it was supposed to increase this year or if that was until next season.
I think 208 was what it was last year too.
Okay. But we do have the franchise tag, the non-exclusive franchise tag, and the transition tag numbers. So the non-exclusive franchise tag, quarterback $29.7 million, running back $9.5 million, wide receiver, so Devontae Adams $18.4 million. Tight end $10.9 million. We'll talk about a tight end that got tagged today. Offensive line $16.6 million. Defensive end 17.8. Defensive tackle 17.4. Linebacker 18.7. Corner 17.3. Safety 12.9. And kicker punter 5.2. Transition tags, which we don't see too many happen every year, but quarterback 27.2, running back 8, wide receiver 16.8, tight end 9.4, offensive line 15.3, defensive end 16, D tackle 14.7, linebacker 15.8, corner 15.1, safety 10.8, kicker punter 4.7 for non-exclusive franchise and transition tags. And we also got the fifth-year option numbers for the 2019 draft class, which the deadline to exercise fifth-year options for that draft is May 2nd. So if they've gone to 2 or more Pro Bowls, quarterback's 29.7. So I have to think about who was in the 2019 class because my mind sucks and I can't think of. I don't even know who the number 1 pick was. Right?
2019 was 3 years ago.
This will be 3 years. Yeah. 2021, 2020.
So
this will be
Baker 4. And Darnold were the 2018 class, right?
So Kyler.
Yeah.
That's the Kyler Murray draft. Yeah. $29.7 million for Kyler Murray. Don't remember what other quarterbacks there were, but that's cool. Running back 9.6, wide receiver 18.4, tight end 10.9, O-line 16.6, D end 17.8, D tackle 17.4, linebacker 18.7, corner 17.3, safety 12.9, and kicker punter 5.2. If they've only made one Pro Bowl, quarterbacks 27.2, running backs 8, wide receiver 16.8, tight end 9.4, O-line 15.3, 16, D tackle 14.7, linebacker 15.8, corner 15.1, safety 10.8, and kicker punter 14.7. So if you made two or more Pro Bowls from the 19 class, you get the franchise tag number. If you've only made one Pro Bowl, you get the transition tag number. That's what I'm seeing, because they were literally the exact same numbers. And then there's two other areas for fifth-year options for the 19 draft class. If you haven't made a Pro Bowl, but you achieved a playtime criterion, quarterbacks are at 22.4, running back 5.7, wide out 13.4, tight end 6.8, O-line 13.2, D end 12.4, D tackle 10.7, linebacker 11.7, corner 11, almost 12, safety 7.9, and kicker punter 3.8. And then if you did make a Pro Bowl and you didn't achieve a playtime criterion, I don't know why you're getting your fifth-year option exercised, but the numbers are here. Quarterback 19.6, back 5.2, wide out 12.4, tight end 6.2, O-line 12.6, D end 11.5, D tackle 9.6, linebacker 10.9, corner 11.2, safety 7.3, kicker punter 3.6. Not that there were any kicker punters with fifth-year options. But they got to have it in there because Ray Guy. Or actually not Ray Guy. What am I saying? Or was it Ray Guy?
I think he's probably the only one that comes to mind to me.
Sebastian Janikowski. Was he the one that they drafted in the first round? I don't know. I can't remember. I told you my memory is crap.
I know.
Just seeing here. Okay, so no, it did rise. It rose a lot, actually. Teams are going to have a lot of money to spend this offseason. So 2018, 177.2. 2019, up 11 million, 188.2. 2020, it rose 10 million, 198.2. Then it dove 15.7 million to 182.5. So now we're going up 25.7 million this year in cap space. Yeah. So that helps many a teams. I wish I wouldn't have closed out my tab on my phone over the cap, because 25.7 million in extra cap space, that clears out the cap for every team except the Packers and Saints. And the Packers, they would have about $1 million over the cap still. And that will be taken care of when they extend Devontae Adams. Saints are still screwed, but
yeah. Yeah, it was Janikowski. I looked it up. That was drafted in the first round. But Ray Guy also was drafted in the first round too.
Raiders the only ones that will do that.
Well, there was 2 others drafted in the first round too. It was Steve Little, the punter for the St. Louis Cardinals back in 1978, 15th overall.
Great.
And Russell Erxleben or something like that. I don't even know how to say his name. 11th overall to the Saints in 1979.
Then you wonder why those teams were so bad. So yeah, we're getting breaking news just left and right, dude. I mean, next thing you know, we're going to be breaking Aaron Rodgers' move down, No,
we're not going to get that lucky. That'll break literally a minute after we close the show.
Yeah, so look out for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision at about 6 Eastern or so. He is supposed to by tomorrow, though. That was the original plan that I've heard, that Tuesday of this week was always his plan to make his decision. We'll see. See what happens. All right, so let's go to franchise tags. Now we know their numbers of what they're going to be making. 3 tags today. Chiefs, they tagged left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. Browns I thought it was surprising anyways. I saw it and I was like, why? Because he's the second best tight end on the team. But they franchise tagged tight end David Njoku. I guess the Browns are going to keep Browning until
I had one good season and that was it.
Until I become the GM, And then the Bengals, they franchise tagged safety Jesse Bates III, which was expected.
Yeah.
Deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern.
But I mean, all these guys are getting tagged today. Do you expect any more?
Yes. Devontae Adams.
You think he'll ultimately get tagged?
Yes. They have to. They have to as a placeholder. Just to be able to extend him or possibly trade him. I'm trying to think of who on other teams, because the Patriots, it's already been reported they're not tagging J.C. Jackson. Are the Jets going to tag Marcus May?
I don't think so, because they tagged him last year, so it would be the second tag. Plus, he's coming off the injury, so I think they're trying to get him on a 1-year prove-it deal, which the tag would be too expensive as a prove-it deal. So,
yeah, because I'm just going with that vision in my head, and I don't think the Bills have anyone worth tagging this year. The Dolphins, I don't think either. The Jaguars aren't going to tag Cam Robinson again. Steelers aren't going to tag Juju. It's not going to happen. The Ravens, I don't have anyone in my head that they're going to go to. Bengals already did. Browns already used theirs. The Titans, Texans, and Colts, I can't see anyone getting tagged from any of those 3 teams. The rest of the AFC West outside of the Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, I feel like the Broncos would have someone, but I can't think of anyone right now. And the Raiders don't have anyone of worth, I don't think. NFC East-wise, Cowboys have a decision to make about Dalton Schultz. That could be one that's still up in the air. The Eagles aren't going to tag anyone. Giants won't. Commanders, I don't think either. NFC North, obviously, I said Adams with the Packers. Bears, Lions, and Vikings. I don't think they have anyone worth tagging.
Unless the Bears decide they want to keep Robinson, but I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, that would be his second tag. NFC South, Saints can't afford to tag anyone. The Falcons actually could now, but they don't have anyone worth tagging.
Well, they could technically tag Patterson, but I don't know if they would.
Yeah, they could do him. Actually be a decent price at, I think it was what, $8 million, something like that. Or if they want, I don't think they would do it, but Russell Gage is a free agent. He would obviously be their best wide receiver coming back, but at, I think, if I remember correctly, it was like 17 something million.
No, I wouldn't do it.
Not pay that for Russell Gage, but yeah, the Panthers already said they're not tagging Stephon Gilmore, which makes sense considering they traded for Chris Godwin, even coming off the ACL, could be a tag there if they can't work a deal out. The NFC West, I don't think the Cards are going to tag anyone. The only candidate I could see on the Cards, because they're not tagging Chandler Jones, but I could see a surprise move where they tag Christian Kirk, a free agent. The Niners, I don't think are going to tag anyone. Seahawks could tag Rashad Penny. That's one to look for. And also the Rams. The Rams are interesting because OBJ and Von Miller, I believe he's already gone. I don't think they're going to re-sign him. But OBJ is an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Because they want him back, but I still have no idea how that would make sense to have him, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp all making over $10 million. Probably, well, if they would tag OBJ, I believe all three would be making over $12 million. A lot of money to put in to your top three wide receivers.
And also, in that scenario, that's a very crowded room for somebody like OBJ.
Right.
He complained in Cleveland for not getting the ball a lot. And with Robert Woods coming back, and obviously the not emergence, but the surge that Cooper Kupp had last year, I think OBJ would be the third option there. Or like him and Woods would be like a 2A, 2B kind of situation. So, yeah, I don't think that would end well for them if they re-signed him.
Yeah, plus they drafted
Van Jefferson.
Well, yeah, they have Van, but they drafted Tutu Atwell in the second round last year too.
I forgot about him.
So I mean, if they re-sign OBJ, it's kind of like you're wasting a second round draft pick as your fifth wide receiver. You know.
Well, I was gonna say, did Tutu really do anything anyway?
No, because they had so many guys. And I mean, when he did do stuff, especially when you saw him play in the preseason, it was just quick screens and he wasn't going anywhere. So, I mean, he'll need time to develop, but yeah, I think there'd be a lot too many weapons with Higbee, and you got Akers, Henderson, Sony Michelle in the backfield. I don't know. And now the Rams have $25.7 million more to make it work, but I would think that 25.7 million is going directly into Matthew Stafford's bank account. Because they got to extend him. So, yeah. Love the Jesse Bates. He's been one of the most underrated players the last 3 years for the Bengals. And Orlando Brown, I don't think I noticed him too much, which I guess is a good thing if you're an offensive lineman. If you're not noticed by the general public, it's probably because you're doing a good job in blocking. And
more likely it's a good thing than a bad thing.
Yeah. So it looks like, anyways, that trade worked out for the Chiefs, getting him from the Ravens last year. So, yeah.
Yeah, offensive line was not the Chiefs' problem this year.
For sure. Okay. A retirement today.
Bit of a surprise one here.
Yeah, he was getting there. I believe he was going into his 10th season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Colts tight end Jack Doyle is done. He retired today. Pretty good, pretty solid tight end throughout his career.
Yeah, he was never like a top tier tight end, but he was definitely one of those serviceable. He did his job, but he was never like the eye popping stats or anything like that. No, I think the reason I'm surprised at the retirement is I didn't realize that he'd been in the league a decade already.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he was in the league 10 years pretty much.
Yeah, he I don't know exactly which year he came out, but he would have either came out with Andrew Luck.
2013.
Okay, so the year after Andrew Luck was drafted to the Colts, 2012. But yeah, pretty nice career for him. Made a decent amount of money. He got extended twice, I believe, by Indy.
I know at least once.
Yeah, I remember one of his extensions was a good amount of money. Was a 5th round pick. Undrafted out of Western Kentucky in 2013. I thought he got drafted. My bad. Joined the Titans practice squad. Was released, then joined the Colts. Wow, that's interesting. He was this is just a random website I've never heard of, but it's fine. It's the top thing on Google, so we're gonna roll with it. It is not Wikipedia. So but he was apparently claimed off waivers by the Colts in 2013 from the Titans on cut day, the last day of cuts, training camp. So since he was claimed off waivers, it didn't allow the Titans to bring him back on the final roster after the final roster cuts, which I guess they were planning to do. So that could have changed his whole career, man. He could have been on the Titans instead of the Colts. Now, again, this is the third time I'm referencing how bad my memory is. I have no clue, no recollection of what the Titans tight end roster depth chart looked like in 2013, but that's fine. Chris will probably look it up as I'm talking.
Did you say Colts or Titans?
Titans.
Because I don't know if Walker was there yet or not.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was still on the Niners at that point. The Colts still had Dallas Clark, I believe.
Oh no, 2013. Yeah, Walker was there.
Okay.
And Craig Stevens.
Solid. No clue who that was.
Well, he had 2 catches for 5 yards.
Stevens.
Yeah.
Nice. Good career stats. Or was that just that season?
No, that was that season.
Okay.
In 14 games.
Could have been his career stats too. Wouldn't be surprised. Considering, again, I've never heard of Craig Stevens. But yeah, anyways, good career for Jack Doyle. The cutting has started.
Oh, just before we move on to that, Kobe Fleener was the tight end for the Colts at that point.
Yeah, Stanford, baby. Kobe Fleener. That was a sad career, derailed by injuries, concussions for Fleener.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Patriots released a guy that's is he a 3-time Patriot?
Van Noy, yes, I believe.
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy. Done again with the Patriots. They get $5 million in cap space for cutting him, and he gets the benefit of being able to sign right away. He could sign tomorrow if he wanted to, if a team is interested.
Well, now we can go out to Oakland where where McDaniels is. Just go to another Bill Belichick disciple.
Yeah.
That's what he's been doing.
Yeah. And McDaniels is the only one left now, I believe. You know,
Yeah,
no Flores.
Patricia's back with the Patriots, and Flores is with the Steelers.
Yeah, I pray he doesn't sign with the Steelers. I mean, we do need linebackers though. That was one of our biggest issues.
I mean, it all depends on how Van Noy liked playing with the Dolphins because Flores was the head coach down there. So,
dude, he was a beast with the Dolphins too.
Yeah.
He was a part of their really good defense in 2019 until he got.
I don't
know. The Browns not releasing someone, but they are not exercising the option on fullback Andy Janovich's deal. He's going to be a free agent when the new league year starts next week. Janovich, one of the best fullbacks in the league, was a Pro Bowl alternate this year. It's tough at the fullback position. There's not many guys out there playing it. I don't remember who the AFC representative was for fullback. I would think it would have been Patrick Ricard with the Ravens. That's the only other fullback I can think of in the AFC. Oh, no. No, I think it might have been Alec Ingold with the Raiders. I think it might have been him. Those are like the only three. You mentioned Derek Watt, but he doesn't really play fullback though. He just plays special teams. He didn't play too much offense this year for the Steelers. They should have. They needed all the blockers they could get in the run game. But yeah, somebody need a fullback? Go ahead. Any Janovich will be available. Longtime Bronco that traded to the Browns a couple years ago. Okay. Not have anything more to add on NFL news. So Let's talk about the combine. Again, Chris and I were talking pre-show. We're like, yeah, we did not watch too much of the combine, but we know what happened. We got our sources. So we talked about the quarterbacks and their workouts, the quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends from their workout on Thursday. And then we had during the show, running backs, offensive linemen, we're getting their workouts in. So I guess, I don't know. Do we want to talk about O-line and running backs?
Yeah, we could talk about them because, I mean, there's a lot of pretty decent running backs that were are projected in the later rounds that had some good showing. And then there's obviously a lot of offensive line talk at the top of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so just going off testing numbers here. This was one of the fastest combines ever.
Uh-huh.
The running backs were especially fast. We had 6 of them run sub 4.4, including some guys that I wouldn't have expected to run sub 4.4. Pierre Strong tied for the lead at 4.37 with South Dakota State's Pierre Strong. He tied Rutgers running back Isaiah Pacheco at 4.37. Ty Chandler at 4.38, kind of expected that. Don't know too much about Devontae Price from FIU at 4.38. But I think the other 2 sub 4.4s really surprised me. Kenneth Walker at 4.38.
Mm-hmm.
I was blown away by that time. And I was also very much blown away by your favorite running back, Breece Hall, running a 4.39.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy crap, dude. I did not know he had 4.3 speed.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think he was going to break 4.4 there, but he just barely did. And I think that can only help his draft stock.
Yeah. I think a big number was the next guy down. My boy from Georgia, Zeus. Zamir White ran a 4.4 flat.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's another guy that I never thought about as being very fast. I always knew he was a pounder. He was a very physical runner. But when he gets in the open field, he can run away from you. Also happy 4.42 for James Cook there. All right, let's go on the opposite end of the spectrum. Some very poor times. Talking running backs, I guess 4.6. So it's got to be a poor time because that's what's at the bottom of the board. Kyron Williams, the slowest running back out of Notre Dame, 4.65. Letty Brown, West Virginia, 4.64. I did not expect Ronnie Rivers to run a 4.6. I thought he was very fast at Fresno State, but I think Ronnie's probably one of those guys that has the cliche saying quicker than fast. He's very twitchy and can do a lot of things in the pass game and the return game.
As long as you can make him miss, it doesn't matter how fast you are.
Our boy Sincere only ran a 4.6.
Hey, I mean, again, as long as you could either make him miss or just run over them, then you don't really have to be that fast. But it's a matter of whether or not he'd be able to.
Yeah, well, the only other guy that ran 4.6 or above, he is a guy that can run people over. Tyler Algier from BYU. I kind of expected him to be a little slower. I knew he's not a breakaway speed guy. He's a big dude. 5'11", 224. Nice compact. Yeah, Sincere is very small. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
5'8.5", 205.
Hey, there's been guys like that out in the NFL before.
Ronnie Rivers even smaller. 5'7.5", 195. But I knew Rivers was very, very tiny. Letty Brown, 6 foot 213, running a 4.64. Kyron Williams, 5'9", 194. That is not a good night. Not a good time for 5'9", 194. 4.65. Bench for the running backs, not too many of them did it. I was impressed. Hassan Haskins, Michigan, put up 27 on the bench. Very good number for that. I'm not sure exactly what the benchmark is for running backs, but in my mind, if you're at 20 or more for a running back, I think that's pretty decent. Which there was only one guy that was under 20. That was Greg Bell out of San Diego State.
Wait, just to put into perspective the height comparison for the running backs, just the guy that popped into my head was a guy that we got to watch a few years back, but Maurice Jones-Drew was only 5'7". Yeah. Apparently his 40 time though was the same as Breece Hall, 4.39.
Oh yeah, dude. MJD was fast, dude.
Yeah.
Breece Hall put on a show again, leading the running backs 40 inches. 40.
Mm-hmm.
Massive. And I mean, he beat the field pretty good because the next best guy was Kevin Harris out of South Carolina, and he beat him by 1.5 inches. 38.5 inches for Kevin Harris there. And then it was Rachaad White out of Arizona State. But then, even Rachaad White, there was a gap of another 1.5 inches down to there was two guys, 36.5, Ronnie Rivers and Tyler Goodson out of Iowa. Snoop Connor out of Ole Miss and CJ Verdell out of Oregon. Poor showing in the vert, 29.5. I think 30 is minimum what you want to reach for that in terms of running backs. Broad jump, 2 guys tied for the top. Jerry and Ely out of Ole Miss, 10.8, along with Zeus, Samir White out of Georgia, 10.8 as well. But Breece Hall wasn't very far down. He was tied for second, or I guess technically it'd be tied for third because there's 2 top. Tied for third with 10.6. Kevin Harris again, 10.6 as well. Rachaad White up there also. Talk about bad broad. I mean, there was a lot of guys that were under 10 foot, but I think 10 foot's minimum explosion number, what you're looking for. Some of the guys, though, I don't fault some of the guys for being under 10 feet because, like we were talking about, Ronnie Rivers. I mean, he's 5'7". I mean, his 40, his vert was very good, but that's just jumping straight up and down, and that's adjusted. For anyone that doesn't know, the little things you hit when you jump up, it's adjusted for how tall you are, and then they calculate it that way. Well, actually, it's not really calculated. It's just they adjust the thing, and then, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I mean, Ronnie Rivers at 5'7". He jumped 9'11", though. I think that's decent. I mean, it's just an inch short of 10 feet. So it's,
yeah.
But a 5'7" to jump that far, I think, is pretty good. Considering I'm 5'6" and I can only jump like 5 feet. Worst broad jumps here: Bam Knight out of NC State and Isaiah Spiller, Texas A&M, surprising, 9'6". Not very good.
No.
Sincere only hit 9'8". Kyron Williams again at the bottom of the list. He had a terrible day in terms of testing. But yeah, Breece Hall was definitely one of the stars of the running backs. I know. I don't know that I really heard any buzz about anyone else other than Breece Hall. I don't know if you did.
No.
Yeah, so I think going into pro days anyways, it seems like the general consensus is Breece Hall, number one running back. I think Kenneth Walker is still a close second, though.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the offensive line. Talk about 40s. Pretty decent. We had a bunch of them, sub 5. And 4 got sub 4.9. Dare Rosenthal, fastest O lineman, 4.88 out of Kentucky. And then you had 3 guys at 4.89. Kellen Deesh, Arizona State. Chris Paul out of Tulsa. And Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. He is one of the guys that had a fantastic night on Friday. I did hear about him quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Slowest offensive lineman, Bill Dunkel out of San Diego State, 5.44. The only other guy that was at 5.4, Luke Tenuta, 5.41 out of Virginia Tech. Bench press, this is important. Zion Johnson, Boston College, 32 bench. Only 3 other guys got 30 plus. Jamari Salyer out of Georgia, 31. Cole Strange out of Chattanooga, 31. And Bernard Raymond, Central Michigan, 30. Some concerning numbers. The bottom 2 guys, Obina Ezi, or Easy, TCU tackle, 18. And Kenyon Green, Texas A&M guard, 20. So not very good numbers for those 2 guys. In terms of vertical, Sean Ryan, UCLA guard, 33.5-inch vert. He led the way there. And then you had, down at the bottom, Myron Cunningham, tackle from Arkansas, 20 inches. And Ed Ingram, guard for LSU, 20.5 inches. Everyone else was above 20, 22 plus. And then broad jump. Cole Strange led the way, 10 foot even. Chattanooga guard. You also had Zach Tom, center from Wake Forest, up there at 9'10". And Bernard Raymond, tackle out of Central Michigan, 9'9". And then down at the bottom, the only person sub 8 foot was Bill Dunkel, once again, down at the bottom there. San Diego State. He's slow and he can't jump far. 7'11". There. Myron Cunningham was down there too, just like he was for the vert. 8'2" on the broad jump. But yeah, offensive tackle. Like I said, Trevor Penn had a nice night out of UNI. Who else did I hear about? In my list of offensive linemen back up here. My nice disorganized notepad. I believe some of the other top tackles had good nights. Charles Cross, I believe I heard about having a good night, Mississippi State tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And then did Kwanu have a good combine? I think he did.
I don't know. I don't know his exact numbers.
Well, he wasn't at the top. He wasn't at the bottom of any of the testing. So yeah, I really think Penning and Cross were the two that I heard about having good combines. I mean, mentioned Cole.
Aquanu 4.9 340, 29 jump or vert jump, 108 broad jump. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a 9 foot broad. I hate when the NFL puts it total inches. Like, just give it to me in feet and inches. But that's how scouts put it in their scouting report is total. But yeah, I think some of the top tackles had good nights. Like I said, Charles Cross, Penning, Raymond. I mentioned a couple times on the testing numbers. It was really the tackles. You didn't hear much about a lot of the guards. Obviously, Kenyon Green not doing that well testing. I don't know if that hurt him necessarily. I'd have to look at the board on who the other guards are, but I thought clearly he was the number one guard coming out.
yeah.
I think cases can be made now. I think actually Zion Johnson might have closed the gap a lot to him. And then you have other guys that are right there, like Darian Kennard. Kennard's a tackle. Let's see what they have him listed at. No, guard, yeah. I thought he was a guard. Yeah, Kennard from Kentucky, and also Ed Ingram for LSU, I think are guys that are right there. And then other guy I'll mention, guard Cole Strange, guard center prospect out of Chattanooga, I thought had a decent time as well. Moving on to the DNs. Now, the defense as a whole put on a show Saturday and Sunday. Defense was very good. I got to watch some of the D line on Saturday night there. Watched Aiden Hutchinson. Watched some of the corners yesterday. Amare, no, Virginia Tech.
There you go.
So yeah, Amare Barno, 4.36, needs to put on about 14 pounds, 6'5", 246. Way too light, even for an outside linebacker. I'd like him to be at 260 play weight. Only other guy sub 4.5 for the D line, the D ends. Sam Williams, Ole Miss 4.46. Did not expect that from him. He is where I want him to be weight wise, though. 6'4", 261. Let me tell you, this is not me being biased, but Georgia had an outstanding weekend in terms of especially the defensive side, considering that's how much we have a lot more players coming out defensively than we do offensively. Trayvon Walker was one of those guys. He shined on Saturday night. 4.51. He was the third fastest D end in the group. Boye Mafe at 4.53 as well from Minnesota. Slowest Trey Williams, Arkansas, 5.08. Arkansas boys not having a good night. Also very slow. I was kind of disappointed. Zach Carter out of Florida, 4.99. Jets need pass rush, right? They can go get another Florida guy.
No.
Like they have in space.
Jabari Zuniga, no.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Top two guys, Kayvon Thibodeau, 4.58. Aiden Hutchinson, a nice brisk walk at 4.74. Big difference. And then D tackle wise, again, like I said, Georgia was outstanding on defensive line. Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis, 4.77 for Wyatt, 4.78 for Jordan Davis. Now, to put that in perspective for Jordan Davis, he ran 4.78. What did I just say? Hutchinson ran?
I don't remember.
4.74.
Yeah.
0.04 of a second slower. At 6'6", 341. I mean, that is just crazy. And Wyatt also 6'3", 304 as well. The only two defensive tackles under 4.8. And there was only one other one that went under 4.9, which was Perry and Winfrey out of Oklahoma, 4.89. Otherwise, slowest, very, very slow. Noah Ellis out of Idaho, 5.66. That's how you go undrafted, Noah. He was running that 5.66 at 6'4", 346. I have to say, Noah, it's not a very flattering draft profile picture either. Gotta say that. Also, Neil Farrell, LSU, 5.41, second slowest time there for the D tackles, 6'4", 330. I forgot to say. Oh wait, no, I don't think he ran. That's right. I was disappointed because he didn't run. Daniel Fa'alele. I wanted to know what his 40 was going to be.
I don't think he ran.
At 6'8", 380. Defensive ends on the bench, 27 for Kayvon Thibodeau. Good showing by him. Aiden Hutchinson didn't do the bench. He did everything else, though. Not sure why, but two guys under 20 reps. Again, Zach Carter from Florida, 19, and a very paltry show by Alex Wright from UAB, 15 on the bench. And it's even worse when I say what I said before pre-show. Cade York, the kicker from LSU, put up 225 12 times. So when you're a defensive end and you only put it up 3 more times than a kicker, that is sad on your part, sir. Kind of disappointed. Arnold Ebiketie only had 21. So did George Karlaftis on the bench. Not many guys did the bench, really. When you look at DNs, it was only 10 of them did it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that because I feel like that's one of the more important ones to kind of show like their strength there.
Well, even less D tackles did. Only 3 defensive tackles did the bench. And I mean, the number one guy for D tackles, Otito Ogbania, had a nice night. 29 on the bench. Big number for the UCLA D tackle. And then Matthew Butler from Tennessee was the worst D tackle, 17. DJ Davidson from Arizona State right in the middle at 23. And then for the vert, we'll start off D tackles. Some guys in the 30s for defensive tackles. Big boys getting up. 4 of them in the 30s there. Ayoma Awuzurike for Iowa State, 33. George Davis again. He just shined. 32 inches on the vertical for Jordan Davis. Once again, I'll say it. 6'6", 341. And the craziest thing was he was playing most of the season at 360. He lost 19 pounds training for the combine, and I think that's what teams wanted to play at, more of a 340.
Wait, where before the combine, where was he projected to be drafted?
I think a lot of people still had him in the first round, late first.
But do you think that this pushes him up in the draft though, to like the teens?
Yes, and I think it's perfect for the LA Chargers. I think they can justify taking him at number 17 now. Because they need that run stopping ability. Even though he's not, or at least he didn't show much pass rush ability with Georgia. That was more Devontae Wyatt's thing. But the other 2 guys in the 30s in terms of broad jump, Matthew Butler from Tennessee, this is for defense tackles, and Chris Hinton from Michigan. Butler at 32, Hinton at 31 and a half. Devontae Wyatt, a close 29 there as well. Worst one was Neil Farrell, LSU, 21 and a half. It's funny, dude. You see the same guys at the top, the same guys at the bottom. I mean, you can't get away from it. When you're not good, you're not good. And when you're good, you're real good. Interesting. The top of the vert chart for the defensive ends, name that I don't really know too much about. I don't think a lot of people do, other than actual NFL scouts. Dominique Robinson, Miami, Ohio, 41 on the vertical jump. He 6'5", 253 for Dominique there. My boy Arnold Ebiketie, though, 38, tied for second with Boye Mafe from Minnesota and George Karlaftis for Purdue. All 3 of those guys got 38. The big boys, Hutchinson with a 36-inch vert. Again, I said Trayvon Walker had a nice night, 35 and a half on the vertical jump. Thibodeau did not do the vert. So you had Hutchinson not do the bench, Thibodeau not do the vert. Worst vertical jump, there were 3 guys under 30 inches for the DNs. Trey Williams out of Arkansas, 26 and a half. Again, same guys at the bottom. Zach Carter, once again, 27 and a half, Florida. And then the only other guy under 30, Myron Tagovailoa Amosa from Notre Dame, 29. There. And then finally, the broad jump, defensive ends, Amari Barno again, fastest guy, longest broad jump as well, 10-11 on the broad. Arnold Ebiketie, Penn State, 10-8. A close second there. The big guys, again, Thibodeau didn't do this event either, but Hutchinson, not that great, really. 9-9 on the broad. Maybe he should have went with Thibodeau on that one and sat that out.
Yeah.
But the worst one, again, Trey Williams just can't get off the bottom of the list. He was the only one sub 9 feet, 8'8". Horrid number for a defensive end. And I mean, he's not even that big. I mean, he's tall, 6'4", but he's only at 253. I mean, that's pretty light for a defensive end, relatively, anyways. In my mind, average weight for the end is between 260 and 275. Zach Carter again down at the bottom, tied for her second to last, 9'2", and then Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa also down there again, 9'7". Yeah, there were a lot of guys that had sub 10-foot broads. D tackle wise, Jordan Davis, dude, 10'3". He outjumped the field by almost a foot. The closest guy was Matthew Butler from Tennessee, 9'4". I mean, that's just ridiculous. Devontae Wyatt, 9'3", also another good one there. And then the bottom guy is Jaden Peavy from Texas A&M, 8'4". John Ridgway from Arkansas, 8'5". Again, those Arkansas guys having horrible nights on Saturday. Jonathan Ford, 8'6", out of Miami. The bottom feeders there on that one for the D tackles. Defensive tackle wise, though, like I said, dude, Jordan Davis was the star of the night. Devontae Wyatt also had a nice night. Trayvon Walker for the defensive ends. It was a Georgia Bulldog kind of weekend because they just shined all over the field for the combine. Like I said, I was happy. My boy Arnold Ebiketie. Disappointed for my other Penn State Nittany Lion, Jesse Luketa, working out as a defensive end. He got hurt. He pulled a hammy doing one of the drills. So he left early. I thought Hutchinson looked very good in his movement. I didn't actually see too much of Thibodeau. I saw a lot of Hutchinson, though. I think, well, that's because I only saw the first group of D linemen, the first half of the alphabet. I didn't get to see the second half because I was working Saturday night. So I did get to see Hutchinson quite a bit and some of his movement drills. It was weird, though. Like they changed the combine around and some of the drills, and they make defensive linemen now drop. They make them do back pedals and all that kind of stuff and catch the ball. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. I didn't hear too much about Ojabo, David Ojabo, the other Michigan man, which was kind of weird, I thought. I believe one of my favorite sleepers also got injured during the combine as well. Cameron Thomas out of San Diego State. I think he got hurt too. Otherwise, yeah. Jordan Davis made some money. Linebackers were also on the field Saturday night, I believe, right? I think it was all secondary yesterday.
Yeah.
So talk about linebackers. I told you all about this guy on Friday to watch out for him. Troy Anderson, the fastest linebacker in the 40, Montana State, my boy, 4.42 for Montana State there. Christian Harris, I know you like him, 4.44, second on that list. Another Georgia Bulldog finished third. The only other guy sub 4.5. Channing Tindall 4.47 there. Slowest guys, there were two guys over 4.8 plus. That was Jesse Lucchetta, Penn State 4.9. Like I said, he got hurt. I don't remember if it was in the 40 though. It might have been. And then Nate Landman from Colorado, 4.86. Very slow there. Close to 4.8 was Josh Ross from Michigan. Some notable guys 40 times here. Talk about Devin Lloyd. Pretty slow, 4.66. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad Muma. Kind of a number I expected, but kind of not. 4.63. I don't know. It seemed like the linebackers were pretty slow. I don't know why. I think of linebackers and I think 4.5s. But there were a bunch that ran 4.6. Damone Clark, 4.57. Yeah. Quay Walker, another Georgia guy, 4.52. And then let's go to bench. Again, not too many guys doing it, but this is where Chad Muma shined. 27 on the rack there for him. Devin Lloyd at 25 for second place. None of the linebackers that did it were under 20. So I thought that was good for all of those guys. Vertical, Channing Tindall, 42 inches. Three other guys at 40 plus. Jeremiah Moon from Florida, 40.5. Also at 40.5, one of your guys, Leo Chanel, Wisconsin. And then again, look where he's at. Chad Muma, 40-inch vertical. Shined there. Let's see. Devin Lloyd, 35. Not that great. No guys were under 30 for the linebackers, so that was good. But the bottom three guys, Josh Ross from Michigan, 31, Quay Walker, 32 from Georgia, and Nephi Sewell, 32 from Utah. Then broad jump for the linebackers, Jeremiah Moon from Florida. At least one Florida guy had a good day, unlike Zachary Carter. But Jeremiah Moon, 11-1 there. Christian Harris, the only other linebacker at 11, flat. Chad Muma, though, tied for third, baby, 10-9. Getting it done there. Channing Tindall also at 10-9 as well. Again, Devin Lloyd not at the top of any of the testing numbers, 10'6" broad. Nakobe Dean didn't work out, I think. Or at least he didn't do any testing. Because he doesn't have any testing numbers. Again, it's the same guys at the bottom of the chart, though. Not Josh Ross from Michigan. I don't know why I have an issue saying his name. Do you hear it, though? Like, I can't. Josh Ross. I can't say it too fast or it all kind of blends. Josh Ross. I can't do it. 9'1" though for him. And then the other two guys at the bottom, Jesse Lucchetta, 9'6", Penn State. Jack Sanborn, 9'6", Wisconsin. So linebackers, though, again, our boy Chad Muma. He probably moved up to the second round now. I was thinking he was going to go in the third round-ish. I think he has a good chance at the second round now. Channing Tindall had a good night, again, for the Georgia guys there. And I think Christian Harris had a nice night, too, for Alabama. And yeah, okay. And then finally, we had corners and safeties yesterday. This is where you get your speed. 2 sub-4 threes and 1 Actually, no. They didn't think he broke the record. Not like Taquan Thornton. That was 700ths of a second off, which was just, again, absolutely terrible. I don't know how that happens. Because it didn't happen. Like the unofficial to official numbers weren't that drastic of a change for any of the other position groups. It was literally just the receivers. But the corners were fast. Kalen Barnes out of Baylor, 4.23. 100th of a second off of John Ross's record at 4.22. Tariq Woolen out of UTSA, also sub 4.3, 4.26. And then the next guy was Zion McCollum, Sam Houston State, FCS, 4.33. The slowest by far corner. Jermaine Waller, Virginia Tech, 4.68. He was slow. He was the slowest by 11 tenths of a second. Yeah. 0.11. That's like probably 5 yards.
Yeah, that's
maybe not. Maybe a little shorter than that, but still.
That's really bad for a defensive back, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only other guy I'll mention at the bottom, Mikhail Wright from Oregon, 4.57, second slowest guy. Kobe Bryant was pretty slow, 4.54. He was down at the bottom, tied for fourth slowest. And then Sauce Gardner, 4.41. Pretty decent. I was happy Tariq Castro Fields, Penn State, 4.38. Corners, bench, there's only 5 guys did it, all under 20 reps, expected for defensive backs. I don't even know what the mark is for DBs, maybe 15? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
The top guy was Jalen Watson out of Washington State, had 18. Damarian Williams and Kobe Bryant from Houston and Cincinnati, respectively, both 17, and then 2 guys at 14. Sam Webb from Missouri Western and Jalen Armour Davis from Alabama. The vert, Tariq Woolen, again, put on a show, 42 inches in the vert, the only guy over 40. Zion McCollum also, again, up there. Sam Houston State, 39.5. And then Chase Lucas from Arizona State, 39. Actually, wow, not too many guys did the vert either for the corners. Fourth, just 10. Only 10 of them did it.
The vert is probably the one drill I was expecting a lot of the DBs to do.
Yeah, you got to get up and high point that ball.
Mm-hmm.
Then there were 4 guys tied at the bottom for the vert at 34.5 inches. Alante Taylor out of Tennessee, Jalen Armour Davis, Alabama, Damarian Williams out of Houston, and DeMarcus Fields out of Texas Tech, 34.5. The broad jump, again, not many guys doing it. 8 guys at the corner position did the broad. Zion McCollum, though, Sam Houston State, dude, he had a very good night on the SDS. 11 feet in the broad, followed by a Caleb Evans at Missouri, 10.9. And then at the bottom, the only guy under 10 feet, Damarian Williams out of Houston, 9'10". And Isaac Taylor Stewart, USC, was second worst at 10'3". Okay, go to safeties, 40. Nick Cross, Maryland, 4.34. Blazing down the track. I'll tell you a safety had a really good night, and you can guess what school he's from. because it was another Georgia Bulldog. Lewis Seen put on a nice show for the crowd in Indy. 4.3740. One of the top safeties, Dax Hill, 4.38. Jaquan Brisker, 4.49. One of the slower safeties, actually, at 4.49. Four guys above 4.5. That was Smoke Monday at 4.52. Wanye Thomas out of Georgia Tech, 4.55. Smoke Monday out of Auburn. Kyle Hamilton, 4.59. Notre Dame. Ooh, second slowest, or tied for the slowest safety time. And then
I'm telling you, I don't want the Jets to draft him. I'll be very upset if they do.
Quentin Lake out of UCLA also with a 4.59. The bench for the safeties, they might have had most people do the bench at any position. I mean, they had let's see, they had nine guys do the bench for the safeties. Yusuf Corker, one of my favorite sleeper safeties in the middle rounds out of Kentucky, 23 on the bench. Jaquan Brisker, 22, very good number for him. And then at the bottom, you had Leon O'Neal, Texas A&M, 15. Three guys tied for 16. Quinterio Cole from Louisville, Verone McKinley III from Oregon, and Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. I feel like bench is where you figure out which guys are strong safeties and which guys are free safeties. The guys with the higher bench numbers, put them in the box. And then vertical for the safeties, JT Woods out of Baylor, nice vert, 39.5. No one over 40 for the safety group here. Kirby Joseph, Illinois, 38.5. He's also in that range with Yusuf Corker for me, where it's like the second tier of safeties after Hamilton, Brisker, and Hill. And then Hamilton actually did show up for the vert, though, 38. Nice number for him. Lowest numbers for safeties wise, vertical, Percy Butler out of Louisiana, 31.5. Dax Hill did not do good in the vertical, 33.5 inches. And then Wanye Thomas at 34. Jaquan Brisker wasn't that much better, 34.5. So
I wonder how these numbers are going to affect the draft, because obviously a lot of these guys were like Dax and Jaquan Brisker, I think, were like probably number 2 and 3 in the safety class.
Yeah.
So I wonder if their numbers really affect their standing at all.
Yeah, I would kind of feel bad for myself if I were those two, because Jordan Davis jumped 32 inches in the vertical. And then broad jump, like I said, Lewis Seen is 11'1", leading the safeties there. Kyle Hamilton, again, the jumping he was very good at. He was just not good at the 40. But 10-11 for Kyle Hamilton on the broad jump. And then Nick Cross, again, up at the top for the testing, 10'10" there. Jaquan Brisker, 10'4", so not terrible. Dax Hill, he was pretty bad, 10'1". At least he got it with 10. Verone McKinley, the second worst at 10 feet. And then Bubba Bolden out of Miami, 9'8", the worst of the safety group. So in terms of safety wise, Lewis was very, very good. Forgot to talk about Sauce Gardner with the corners. He had a good weekend. I don't think he necessarily helped or hurt himself. I thought
he's still the number one corner.
Stayed even. I heard both of the Washington corners had pretty decent days on yesterday. McDuffie and Gordon. And Stingley didn't work out, so we didn't see him. I thought Tariq Woolen, he was leading a lot of the testing numbers. Pretty good. I didn't see Andrew Booth wasn't working out, right?
I don't believe so.
I don't think he did. One guy I will say that I remember because I was watching the DB drills a little bit while I was waiting for another hockey game to start. Smoke Monday looked absolutely terrible. I mean, his form I thought was horrendous. He was I don't even know how to describe it. Like most corners go back and like have their hands start right here and then like pump as they backpedal, or some just like bounce them. I don't know like how he did it, but like he was like this. He wasn't pumping the whole arm. He was just like at the elbow. Like literally, that's how his backpedal was. And he looked really high. His hips didn't look very fluid when he was in position, and I just thought his technique was absolutely terrible. That was one that I did notice a lot because I watched him do a couple of drills, and I was like, "What is this?" And I mean, he's not a bad player. Like, he was pretty good at Auburn, but it's just like, oh God, I don't even know how he started with that technique. I mean, I thought, anyways, his teammate was better than him, anyways. Roger McCreary, the other Auburn corner. So,
yeah.
Okay, that's the combine. Unless you had any other notes on any of the guys from the weekend.
No, we covered pretty much all the guys that I was thinking about. I just still can't get over Jordan Davis's performance. That's the only guy that keeps like popping out in my head.
Dude, yeah. I mean, again, it was a good weekend to be a Georgia Bulldog at the combine. I will say though, the Baylor boys had a nice weekend too. With Tyquan Thornton running the fastest 40 of the receivers on Friday night, and then, on Friday, no, Thursday night. And then the defensive guys for Baylor also had good days. One of my favorite mid-round linebackers, Trell Bernard, had a good time. And then the two safeties are very good as well, Jalen Petrie and JT Woods for Baylor. So I thought they had a nice weekend for the Baylor Bears as well. Okay. Got our mock draft series. Keeping it going. We are doing the first official mock draft for the Washington Commanders, along with the Vikings.
Yeah.
But it's weird. These two are two of the normal teams.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think this is the first one we've done that we only have their actual picks, and that's it.
Yeah. The Vikings do have a couple extra picks that they picked up in some of the trades in the later times, but Washington, they didn't trade any of their. I think they have all 7 of their original picks. They don't have any extras. So number 11 and number 12 overall, Washington comes back in the second at 42, Minnesota at 46, and then Washington at 73, Minnesota at 77 in the third round. So it should be all prepped. Just got to click start. Here we go. So Aiden Hutchinson, dude, why do we keep getting this? Kyle Hamilton 2. Stingley at 3. Look at that, Chris. Your boys had Kayvon Thibodeau in their sights. They didn't take him.
And Evan Neal, who they ended up taking, and Ekwonu as well.
Yeah. So
this is probably the least likely draft scenario to actually happen in the real world right now, but
yeah,
hey, anything's possible.
So we have a weird draft for this one, but that's fine. We'll roll with it. We're not picking to 11. It's not our fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, Evan Neal to the Jets, Ike Ekwonu to the Giants. Look at the tackle run there. Charles Cross to the Panthers. Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, that's a holy draft by the Giants, dude. If they could swing that. Ekwonu and Thibodeau. I mean, Joe Shane would be give him the GM of the Year award already. Jamison Williams to the Falcons. Unnecessary evil that they need now. I don't know about going back to the Alabama route, but especially at 8 with his ACL injury, that's so just showing how even more weird this mock draft is. Malik Willis, that is a normal pick though. One that could actually happen at number 9 to the Broncos. And your boys go Trayvon Walker at 10. That's a
interesting pick there.
I mean, he did show out at the combine. He had a very good night.
So with us being Washington here at number 11, I'm kind of disappointed to see Malik Willis get taken by the Broncos. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually happens, but since we are one of the quarterback needy teams here, I'm kind of upset to see him go to the Broncos, because that, even if we weren't going to pick him, that still would have given us the option to take him.
I hate it, but we have to do it.
Yeah, we got to steal the Pittsburgh guy.
I absolutely hate this because, yeah. But again, in my ideal scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers, if the Broncos don't take a quarterback or they take Malik Willis, the Steelers better be calling Joe Douglas to go from 20 to 10 and give up next year's first round pick along with this year's and go get it. And chip in a third rounder, whatever. Whatever Douglas wants, I will give it to him, Chris.
I'd be perfectly okay with that.
Or that 10th pick to pick it.
And I'd also be perfectly okay with the trend of first round trades to the Jets and then the team doing bad the next year, like the Seahawks just did this year. I'd be perfectly fine with with Tomlin's first losing season.
Yeah, that won't happen, dude. He will find a dude. He found a way to get to 8-8, playing most of the season with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges.
I know.
Steve, with a quarterback that is the most pro-ready quarterback in this draft class, he would be able to get it done. At least 8-8 or 9-8, because now you have to be over 500. Or we can go 8-1. It's fine.
8-1. The Steelers seem to like to tie, so
we're not tying the Lions next year. That's not gonna happen again. Okay, so yeah, we're taking Kenny Pickett for the first pick of the Washington Commanders ever. Okay. So now Vikings. See, the Vikings were an interesting quarterback option as well. We saw them get quarterback chosen for them in a couple of our other mocks. But
I don't think they do that though.
Right. I don't
especially in this scenario too, because 2 of them are already off the board. And I mean, I don't know. Just this isn't necessarily about this mock draft, but if this were the way that the board falls, like the Broncos take one and then the Steelers can't get a trade up with the Jets and Pickett then goes to Washington, do you think that the Steelers could still call up right here and trade up, or do you even think they would have to at that point?
I think it depends on how they feel the situation in Cleveland is. Because if the Browns do not re-sign or sign Baker to an extension before the draft, that makes for a really, I guess, fun. I want to say fun because I feel like I use interesting too much on the show. And I'm very bad at changing my adjectives.
Mhm.
So, fun scenario where Cleveland could be in play for a quarterback if Mayfield isn't extended before the draft. So, yeah, I mean, I could see it because you look at the rest of the teams. You know the Ravens aren't going to take one. The Eagles aren't going to take one. They've been adamant that they're backing Jalen Hurts this offseason. Chargers, no. And then the next pick is at 18 for the Saints. So, I mean, you have a lot of picks in between that, other teams could come up with any of those teams, specifically Philly at 15 and 16 to get ahead of the Saints. But I think in this area, it's really like the Vikings and the Browns are the two that are like wishy-washy that you never know. That could possibly take quarterbacks. I think the rest of the first round, other than the Saints and Steelers, really don't need a quarterback. I mean, now with the Kyler situation, you never know in Arizona. The Bucks, no one knows what they're doing right now. I mean, they're still calling Tom Brady every day to get him back. So that's their off-season plan right now. And I think they're fine with. I mean, I have heard that they're going to go big at quarterback if Tom Brady definitely says like no, like close it as it signs the retirement papers. Unlike, Favre. It's not official until you submit the paperwork to the NFL. So, which I don't think Brady has. But then you look back here and it's like, the Dolphins don't need one. Packers could, I guess, pending Aaron Rodgers. And then, the Lions are right there. That's the only other team I see in the back end. That would need one. But yeah, so here I want to go the top guy.
I was gonna say, I think it's a pretty obvious choice here. He's slid down to 12 to us here with the Vikings. I personally don't think he's going to be here. And in most other mock drafts we've done, if he's off the board, they end up going with Stingley.
Yeah.
So I think that corner is definitely a solid option here.
Yeah.
And got to go Gardner here.
Yeah, Rick Spielman's not the GM anymore of the Vikings, but they're still drafting first-round corners. With Kwesi Adofo-Mensah there in Minnesota. So let's go Sauce Gardner here at 12. Jermaine Johnson for the Browns, David Ojabo to the Ravens, Linderbaum and McDuffie for the Eagles, Trevor Penning for the Chargers, Garrett Wilson for the Saints, Nakobe Dean. Oh, my God, I love that pick for the Eagles. Jordan Davis to the Steelers. Look at that. Andrew
I like
Booth
that one.
for the Pats, Devontae Wyatt for the Raiders, George Karlaftis. He gets mocked to the Cardinals a lot. Perry and Winfrey for the Cowboys, Cameron Thomas for the Bills, Drake London to the Titans, Kyler Gordon for the Bucks, DeMarvin Leal to the Packers, Traylon Burks to the Dolphins, Devin Lloyd for the Chiefs, Zion Johnson for the Bengals, Christian Harris to the Lions. So we had no other quarterbacks go.
Yeah.
Just Willis and Pickett. And look at all these guys we got. We got Ritter here. We got Howell sitting there. Carson Strong somewhere down here.
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, if the Vikings really did want one, they could go for one now. But I don't know. We'll have to see how these next 4 picks go.
So then the start of the second round here, Bernard Raymond for the Jags, Boye Mafe to the Lions. Your Jets go Daxton Hill. There's a quarterback. Giants, Matt Corral at 36. Again, I don't know why you would pick him in the second round if you're that close to the first round. In the real draft, it would make so much more sense to trade up to get the 50th option. Jaquan Brisker to the Texans. Your Jets get Roger McCreary at 38. Kenyon Green for the Bears. Chris Olave for the Broncos. Tariq Woolen coming off a nice combine to the Seahawks. Washington back up. So we have a nice nucleus now in Washington. Kenny Pickett at quarterback. You have Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin at wide receiver. You also have Antonio Gibson in the backfield with J.D. McKissick as well. And you have Logan Thomas at tight end coming off injury.
It's interesting, though, that they say that wide receivers their biggest need now in this.
I think Samuel's a free agent. That's why.
He only signed a 1-year deal?
No, he signed a 2-year deal.
It's been 2 years already?
Yeah, I think he signed in 2020.
Well, if that's the case, then yeah, I guess wide receiver.
Oh, he signed a 3-year deal last year.
Yeah, so this is only year 2 with him. It's going into year 2, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, they still have him under control, but I think the problem might be McLaurin. I don't know how much longer they have him under control.
He was drafted in 2017.
So.
And he was only a 3rd-round pick, so they don't have a 5th-year option on him.
So I think this year coming up is his last year unless they can get a deal done with him. But maybe that's why they have wide receiver ranked so high, because they don't think that McLaurin will stay. Or at the moment, he's only under contract through this year, so maybe that's why. I don't know.
Actually, what am I saying? Terry McLaurin was drafted in 2019.
Oh, well, then he has 2 years left, then, I think.
Oh, this is the last year. 19, 20, 21, 22.
Oh, yeah, 22. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, what I said before stands. But, I mean, if we were to go wide receiver, I don't know what's left. I mean, I see Dotson there and Watson at the bottom. And then you look at their other needs, corner. I don't know if there's any good ones for that left right now to take at this point. And interior offensive lineman, like, you're going to need to probably replace Scherf. I don't think that they get him back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's probably still too early to get what's his name?
Who?
Why am I blanking on the guard?
I don't know. There's a lot of guards.
No, the
right here.
No, or did he already go and I wasn't paying attention?
Kenyon Green went to Bears.
Oh, so then never mind. That's who I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 guards there. Those are not my 2 next. Those aren't my next guy. My next guy would be Jamari Salyer out of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think they can go defense too early.
Well,
I mean,
I thought Elam was the next quarterback.
They do need corners. That's true.
And Elam was the next one, I think I saw. They also need safety, which there was Petrie right there.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at and you think about the best available player, especially with the 2 drafts that we're doing where the teams only have their own first 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're waiting another 32 picks or plus or minus, depending on how many teams had the same record as you when they rotate through the round. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough pick for their second one. But if we're trying to avoid a situation like Joe Burrow, avoid a situation like Zach Wilson, rookie quarterback getting pounded all season, his first year, I think you have to take the lineman and protect him. So, like I said, my next guy would be Salyer, even though the Draft Network has Sean Ryan and Tyler Smith above him. But I think Salyer had a good combine, and that's my guy.
I mean, you also know a lot about him, being that he's from Georgia as well.
I actually didn't know too much about him coming into the draft process. I didn't really notice him too much coming out of the season. So, but now I have, with his work. I believe he played in the Senior Bowl and also at the Combine. He's been a riser for sure.
Well, I mean, I definitely agree with the guard pick here, but I don't really know much about any of the three guys. So if you think that he's the best, then I'll go with your gut.
Falcons, Jalen Petrie, Jahan Dotson to the Browns, Travis Jones for the Ravens. Now, Petrie went, dude.
Uh-huh.
Could have used him. Dang, that sucks. Wow. Yeah, so the Vikings are in a bind here. Now, Lewis Cine is there. He will definitely go before their next pick.
Mm-hmm.
In the ideal situation, we would trade back a couple picks and hope to get him still. There are no interior defensive linemen to be seen anywhere.
That was going to be my question. I just saw one, but it was very far down. Unless that was IOL. I don't know. I thought I saw IDL.
IOL.
Oh, right there.
Next one. This is the next one. Fidarian Mathis. That's 76, which is, I believe, right on the Vikings' third-round pick. I believe that's exactly what their pick is in the third round. 77. Whatever.
So we could still hope that he's there. But yeah, Cine definitely won't be. Safety is their top need, but is it the right safety?
Yeah, because Harrison Smith is the cover guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Lewis Cine, I don't necessarily know which position he plays better. I could see a situation where Lewis Cine ends up being the free safety and Harrison Smith goes down to the box. Harrison Smith is going into like his 11th season. So,
yeah.
He's not young anymore. And, even though actually the older guys, I think, go into the free safety and not the other way around. Like Kareem Jackson. I mean, he switched from corner to safety, but Kareem Jackson.
Well, yeah, so I think Cine is the choice here, unless if I'm the Vikings looking at my quarterback situation, I don't like what's his name from last year.
Yeah. And
I mean, I forget what Cousins' deal is right now, but I'm also not looking for a starter for this year, so.
Yeah, I think the issue with the quarterback, taking a quarterback here, is especially if you're going just, top board. I see similarities between Kellen Mond and Desmond Ridder. Ridder, I believe, would be a better player. I don't know, though, but just in my mind, they seem very similar. So I don't know. And I would most definitely take Ridder over the other guys, Sam Howell, Carson Strong. Actually, I'm blanking on who their offensive coordinator is.
Not Kubiak, right?
I was gonna say, is it Clint Kubiak?
It might be. But I don't know because of their new regime. I don't know.
Under Kevin O'Connell. But even so, Kevin O'Connell from the Sean McVay tree, they run the play action, the Shanahan style of offense. And so if you are looking for a quarterback, I would say no to Desmond Ridder. I would say no to Sam Howell. And I would actually look for Carson Strong. if you would go quarterback, because I think Carson Strong, he's big, 6'5", 6'4", 215, big dude.
Yeah.
But I really do think Carson Strong would be a fantastic play action Shanahan style offense quarterback. That's not where I want to go though. Here, I think Lewis Cine is the pick. That's where we're gonna go. Not sure why wide receiver is the 5th biggest need for the Vikings, but we won't draft one here anyways, unless it's Christian Watson to the Colts, Kyer Elam for the Chargers. Daniel Fa'alele goes to the Saints. Kenneth Walker to the Dolphins. Look at that. Oh, why? No, stop. Desmond Ridder to the Eagles. Not going to happen. Tyler Smith to the Steelers. Sean Ryan to the Raiders. Chad Muma. That's a Patriots pick right there.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
To Darian Kendrick for the Cards. Logan Hall for the Cowboys. Fidarian Mathis for the Bills. Dylan Parham for the Falcons. Damone Clark for the Packers. Isaiah Spiller for the Bucks. That
I don't like that one.
feels about right too. Darian Kennard to the Niners. George Pickens for the Chiefs. Isaiah Likely, first tight end off the board to the Bengals. Breece Hall. Why?
That's an interesting pick there for the
Broncos. I mean, I guess Melvin, they're going to release him, or he's a free agent. I don't know. Brian Asamoah to the Jags. John Mechie to the Lions. Sky Moore for the Giants.
That's a Giants pick right there.
Josh Pascal to the Texans. There you go. You got a quarterback to your Jets.
No.
Sam Howell. He is a New York guy.
Yeah, maybe for the Giants.
David Bell to the Jags. Calvin Austin to the Bears. Kingsley Enagbare to the Seahawks. Dude, what is this mock draft? What are we doing right now?
This is the most bizarre mock draft we've done so far.
This is that 1 in 1,000 simulations that you get, you know. By the way, Kirk Cousins' current contract, I know we're on Washington right now, but Kirk Cousins' current contract ends after this year.
Okay.
He is a free agent in 2023. So Washington, we got Kenny Pickett. We got him some protection in Jamari Salyer. Now let's double down on the quarterback and take Carson Strong.
Yeah, one of them's got to be good.
Like Washington did in 2012. And I've actually heard it was just one source, and I don't remember where it was from, but I have heard that they could possibly do that. I mean, why not? It worked for them once. Why not try it again? It worked when they drafted Kirk Cousins in the 4th round.
I was going to say, this is the 3rd round, so I think it's too early.
But I don't think you're going to get, Carson Strong's my 5th quarterback, and I don't really know if you're going to get much better.
Yeah, I don't know, but I still – I don't know. I definitely prefer the model of drafting your guy with your first pick and then building around him, especially in the earlier rounds.
Well, they can draft Bailey Zappi in the 5th round. It's fine. We're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So do we want to keep going offense? Because Trey McBride is sitting right there. I know they have Logan Thomas, but he's over 30 and he's injury prone.
Yeah. Well, McBride is a very enticing option, but they're still sitting right there with wide receiver as a big need. I don't see any right here, obviously, but who else is left on the wide receiver list here?
Yeah, and what's crazy about just going back to Logan Thomas real quick, the Commanders can get out of his contract after next year with only a $3.5 million cap charge. So he's signed through 2024, but next year would be the first year they can get out at a reasonable price.
I used to like Logan Thomas until I traded him away to Ricky for 2 third-round picks in our dynasty league. Now I don't care about him anymore.
It's fine. I still have the best draft or the best dynasty trade of all time last offseason when I traded 2 second-round picks for Cooper Kupp.
That was a steal.
I told you. Yeah.
Hey, I still don't understand how I got Cooper Kupp in the 4th round in our keepers league.
I don't know. Because they had Robert Woods and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So Washington.
But who are the wide receivers available right now? Because I don't see any anywhere.
Kyle Phillips.
Is that he's the number 1 left right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't
Jalen
need to
Tolbert.
get one right now. So no.
Jalen Tolbert's an interesting option. So what we got at corner here? Slim Pickens, Mario Goodrich, not terrible. What else we got? Lante Taylor really didn't have that great of a combine. Marcus Jones would be intriguing.
That's an intriguing option.
I just don't like him this early.
Yeah, not now.
I'd be more comfortable trading back and trying to get him later in the 3rd if you're going to take him. So let's not go either of those 2 positions.
What about safety? Because that's also up there.
We do. I thought there was one. Maybe not. Okay. Not. Kirby Joseph. Now, he, again, so you see all the rest of the guys there. Kirby Joseph is probably my last guy in the 2nd tier that I have because I have 4 guys in that 2nd tier because it's like Kyle Hamilton by himself and then Dax Hill, Jaquan Brisker. Okay, so maybe that's a 3rd tier. I guess Dax Hill and Jaquan Brisker, the second tier. And then the 3rd tier is Kirby Joseph, Yusuf Corker, and
Louis Seen.
Yeah, those are the 3 3rd tier safeties that I have. And you could also add in, I guess we'll put 5 guys in that 3rd tier. Petrie and Woods, both the Baylor safeties too. But yeah, so Kirby Joseph is the next guy before a pretty far drop off to Nick Cross and Dane Belton are the next 2 that I would have.
But I think he's another one though.
Corkerton.
I think you could get Kirby Joseph possibly with your next pick too. Or if he's there late enough in this round, you could trade up with your 4th pick. So I don't think we need to go that either. I think it's an obvious choice. I mean, it's not really an obvious choice. It's more of a forced choice here. But I think your original idea with McBride, I think, is the best option right here.
Yeah, and when you look at their tight end depth, they have decent with Thomas, Ricky Seals-Jones, John Bates, who they drafted last year in the 5th round from Boise State, and another guy that is a practice squad guy. Or 4th round last year for John Bates. My bad, John. My bad. I believe, just trying to check to see if Ricky is I believe, he's a free agent. Yep. Yeah, so Ricky Seals-Jones isn't even signed. He's a free agent.
Well, here you go. This solves it. No, they don't have to worry about re-signing him.
Yeah. And they get the number 1 tight end.
Yeah. Who oddly didn't go as the number 1 tight end in the draft, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think there will definitely be teams that likely a lot better than they do McBride. I mean, just, pick which one you want. But I definitely don't see both of those guys falling as far as they did.
Yeah.
Likely didn't fall that bad. He went early 3rd, or no. I thought he went early 3rd. He went a 2nd?
Oh, there he was, the Bengals. Yeah.
Late 2nd. Yeah, late 2nd.
That's around where I could see McBride going to, if not early second.
I could see McBride early second, possibly to your Jets at their second pick.
Yeah, I would love to
Pick.
see that, but I don't know if the Jets are smart enough to do that.
Hey, don't insult Joe Douglas.
This is if they're anything like this mock draft Jets that we're going through right now, drafting freaking Sam Howell in the second round with
Sam
that
Howell.
pick. No.
Yeah. Okay, so the Vikings. Oh, I forgot to read the other guys. Arnold Ebiketie. Where did Desmond Ridder go? When did he go? Wasn't he just on the board?
He might have just gotten taken before the Vikings got up.
Arnold Ebiketie, Darian Beavers, and Ed Ingram to the Falcons, Broncos, and Ravens.
Oh.
Where did he go? The Jets took Howell. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
No, we don't need to talk about it, Chris.
Yeah, talk about a weird quarterback draft there.
But Carson Strong, I mentioned this for the second round pick of the Vikings. And Kirk Cousins is a free agent after this season. He wasn't acquired by the current regime in Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and head coach Kevin O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I just think he would be a good Shanahan-style quarterback. You know, again, they're not attached to Kellen Mond either. They didn't draft him.
Yeah.
So, do they need more than a quarterback? Yeah. They need a lot of help defensively. Probably some extra offensive line and some more depth receivers. But, I mean, KJ Jefferson had a nice – or KJ Osborne, not KJ Osborne.
Yeah.
Nice season.
Well, I think my two picks here would be between those top two guys right there. Either Carson Strong for the future at the quarterback position or Leo Chenal to help out that linebacking unit. Because
true, they do need linebacking. Anthony Barr is a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
They also need help opposite of Daniil Hunter. Drake Jackson sitting there at the edge position. Interior defensive line, I don't think we have any options.
A lot of tight ends there.
Yeah, who do the Vikings have a tight end again? I don't remember. Once again, calling upon my horrid.
I mean, I know they had Chris Herndon, but he was the backup.
He was like the fifth string, Chris. I don't even think I saw him on the field this year.
Probably not.
I'm literally I just keep going back and forth between ESPN depth charts and Spot Track because we keep talking about who teams have at certain positions and
Conklin,
like, oh yeah, Tyler Conklin. Well, the Vikings depth chart on ESPN is all screwed up. Let's see what it says.
Oh, and Herb Smith too.
Oh yeah, Herb Smith.
Herndon was the third tight end, by the way.
Yeah, and then Luke Stalker. My God. But anyways, so Sean Mannion was the backup last year. They drafted Kellen Mond in the third round last season. They drafted Nate Stanley out of Iowa in the seventh round in 2020. And if I go back to Spot Track, just to check out one more contract because we're running very long. We made this a long show, Chris. Actually, I did. I rambled on about the combine. My bad.
It's fine. There's a lot of exciting performances. So, like we said, it was literally the fastest combine was it in history or what was it?
In a while.
Yeah.
One of the positions, I remember the year 2003 was mentioned in the corners, I believe, the DBs. Yeah, so Sean Mannion is a free agent as well. So they don't have their backup quarterback from last year anyways. Kellen Mond is coming into the season as the backup to technically, I guess, if you want to say, compete with Nate Stanley to be the backup to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Like I said at the second round pick, I'm going to say it again, Carson Strong, I think would be perfect for the Kyle Shanahan, or not Kyle Shanahan, the Mike Shanahan style of offense that comes off of Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay tree.
I mean, I like the pick too, but the only thing the only concerns I have is like, I'm sure this is all stuff that they think about too, but what's the landscape look like for like either next year's crop of quarterbacks in the draft or potential free agent quarterbacks? Like, do I like any of those potential guys better than Carson Strong? And then with the linebacker thing, like with Chenal, I feel like he helps out the team more immediately than Carson Strong would. So if you are in a win now mode, which I don't think the Vikings are anymore, but if you were in a win now mode, I would definitely go with Leo Chenal here.
Yeah. I mean, the 2023 quarterback class is going to be back to a normal where there are top guys that are going to go top 10. Because when you look at it, it's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Just looking off this article. I don't agree with that, but Spencer Rattler, depending on how he plays at South Carolina. Jake Hayner, our boy Jake Hayner's next year. He's in next year's class. I would love. He's like Bailey Zappi this year. Jaron Hall from BYU's intriguing dual threat quarterback option. And then you got guys like Grayson McCall next year as well. Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee. Will Levis from Kentucky. I don't think he's. If Uiagalelei can do anything better than he did at Clemson this past season, he could be a draft guy. And then you got late guys like Phil Dracovic, Keaton Slovis playing at Pitt this year. Dylan Gabriel's at UCLA. So it's definitely a lot better quarterback class, especially at the top next year. But I think Carson Strong's a fine pick and kind of biased. You know, I've been on Nevada, the Carson Strong train for a while.
And I mean, at least with this pick, we're not drafting him to start right away. That's presumably Kirk Cousins. And if Cousins gets hurt or whatever, then we'd have to figure it out at that point. I don't know if Kellen Mond would start or if they'd have to sign somebody off the street. But yeah, I like the idea of drafting a guy now to have him sit a year or two, and then instead of going next year and drafting one of the top 10.
Yeah. Carson Strong. 2023 Minnesota Vikings starter. Zachary Carter, to the Browns. Drake Jackson for the Chargers. James Cook to the Texans like that. Leo Chenal goes to the Giants. Nicholas Petit-Frere to the Colts. Sam Williams for the Eagles. Mario Goodrich for the Steelers. Kyle Phillips to the Pats. Alante Taylor for the Raiders. Cade Otton to the Cards. Jeremy Ruck. Tight end run.
I like that.
The Cowboys. Jalen Watermeyer to the Bills. Channing Tindall for the Titans. Jalen Tolbert for the Bucks. Greg Dulcich, another tight end. Good Lord, back of the third round. To the Packers. Martin Emerson for the Niners. Kirby Joseph finally goes to 94 for the Chiefs. Abraham Lucas for the Bengals. Nick Benito for the Broncos. That's a good pick. Skylar Thompson Lions had their new quarterback. Quay Walker to the Browns. Cam Taylor-Britt for the Ravens. Jack Cohn, Saints had their new quarterback.
Yeah, okay.
They drafted.
That's almost as bad as the
they drafted back-to-back Notre Dame quarterbacks. Troy Anderson, my boy, he finally went in one of our mock drafts to the Dolphins at 101.
Couldn't crack the top 100 though.
To the Chiefs and JoJo Doman for the Rams. Doesn't JoJo Doman go to the Rams at 103?
I think so.
Okay, so our 6 picks for the Commanders and the Vikings. I love it. Washington. It's a great time. Draft Network, do better about it, guys. Anyways, we drafted 2 quarterbacks here. Washington, the Commanders go get their guy Kenny Pickett at number 11. Vikings at 12 get Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. Commanders at 42, Jamari Salyer, guard out of Georgia. Vikings at 46, Lewis Seen, safety, also out of Georgia. Commanders at 73 get Kenny Pickett some help at the skill position. Trey McBride, tight end, Colorado State. And then 77, Vikings, Carson Strong, quarterback out of Nevada. Very difficult draft. Very weird draft. And I guess we came out with the best guys we could.
Yeah. I mean, I actually didn't mind how Washington's draft came out.
I thought, yeah. Other than the reach a little bit for Salyer, because there wasn't anyone else there. But, I mean, to get McBride at 73 is just a steal.
And Pickett to pair with him, too.
Yeah.
Pickett in his small hands.
Okay, so next Monday, we're going to have the not combine news. Free agency preview, though, next Monday. Next Monday, we will be 2 days to free agency. So we will have a comprehensive free agency show. Probably going to be real long, just like this one was when I ramble on about free agents, just like I did at the combine. And then we'll continue our mock draft series. Eagles at 15, 16, and 19, and the Chargers at 17 in the first round. I will be very...
Wait, when does the legal tampering period start? Is that Wednesday or is that before that?
Sunday.
So we will potentially have some free agent news on Monday then.
Yeah, but I believe it's Sunday anyways. I think because it's usually 3 days before. So, yeah. You're right, Chris. We will have deals probably to talk about. That's the show for today. Went way too long. But
hey, we just kept rambling on about stuff, and sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Couldn't really do that on Friday though, because we had that 45-minute talk about the NIL stuff. So
yeah, I gotta fix the sound too for when I lost out there. But don't forget to follow us on on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Thank you, Chris, and we will see you